All right, back for another beer review, and today I'm going to be reviewing a beer from the Westbrook Brewing Company, and they're out of Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. And this is their Fruit Wood Time Montmorency and Balaton Cherry, and this is the 2017 vintage. So this is an oak-aged American wild ale that is brewed with cherries, comes in at 5.9% alcohol by volume, 10 IBUs. And at the time of review, this beer is just over 16 months old. So Fruit Wood Time is a series that I just started seeing from Westbrook sometime last year, and I didn't pick any of them up. I wanted to pick a couple of them up, but I saw this a couple months ago and it was on sale. I think it was like $9 or $10, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna finally give it a go. So this one, they have a little spiel here on the label that I will read. It says, this beer is a blend of 50% 2-year-old wine barrel aged sour ale and 50% 2-year-old foeder aged wild ale. After blending, the beer was refermented with Montmorency and Balaton cherries for 6 months in another new oak foeder. So yeah, sounds pretty delicious. Now I've really enjoyed Westbrook's like kettle sour program, like the Gose they do, the key lime pie Gose. I've mentioned that beer specifically plenty of times. So it's cool to see them do like a proper like American wild ale, American sour. So we're gonna see what this one's all about. I imagine it's gonna be very cherry heavy, and that's fine with me. Hopefully it doesn't explode on me because, you know, this is a vintage. Wow, there wasn't a ton of carbonation there. So does that worry me? Maybe a little. Oh my Lord, I can smell cherries off the top. Wow. Hashtag proper glassware, let's do it. Yeah, so that's pouring out like a straight up like pink, a rosé wine look to it. So yeah, that looks beautiful in the glass. So we have this, yeah, very pink, like light red color. Let me try to swirl up ahead here if I can. I don't think I'm going to be able to though. Let's see. Yeah, so you're just getting a thin film. It doesn't seem to have a ton of carbonation, but yeah, like a pink light red color. Kind of looks like cranberry juice, honestly. I had a light, like an off-white head that dissipated to nothing, but that looks pretty beautiful actually. I would say so anyway, but it looks more like a fruit juice as opposed to anything else. Anyway, let's get a nose on it. Yeah, tons of cherries, and they are like tart. I wouldn't say the cherries necessarily tart, the base beer is tart, but the cherries are definitely there. A little bit of a sweeter cherry mixed in with a tart cherry, but yeah, the underneath funkiness from that base beer. The so-called like barnyard funk, definitely there. Like a musty hay component. Yeah, definitely a musty hay component. There's like a balsamic vinegar type of vibe to this one as well. Definitely has more of a straight on sour quality as opposed to a tart quality to this one. Yeah, balsamic vinegar. It's kind of mixing with a sweeter and tart cherry, that barnyard funk. It's appropriate for what they're going for with, you know, actual proper wild ale, not a kettle sour. The funkiness to this one is quite big, quite large. There's an acidic tone too to the overall profile of the aroma. It smells pretty much what I was expecting from this one. Now, I haven't mentioned this before, but for me, the reason I enjoy kettle sours more than like traditional like American wild ales or lambics or anything like that is because the funkiness to me, when it's too powerful, too overwhelming, it's just not in my wheelhouse. It's just not my jam. The kettle sour kind of takes that away. You just get straight on tartness, and that's more of what I'm looking for. This one though, it's not overwhelming to me. It definitely is the predominant note in here, but those cherries are very prominent as well, and it's making for a well-blended and well-executed nose. So anyway, let's get into the taste. Cheers, everyone. That's very tasty. Jesus Christ. Oh. So even though that I knew on the nose it was going to be sour, I first took a sip of it. Really sweeter cherries right up front. But as it passed through the palate, in the back of the palate, you know, into the jawline, definitely substantial sourness. Yeah, so the cherries are a little bit more prominent than they were in the nose. Sweeter cherry. Have you ever had like tart cherry juice, which I've drank a lot actually? It helps in terms of like, you know, healthy living. It's good to have like a small glass of tart cherry juice every day. And this is kind of very reminiscent of that, albeit a bit sweeter. Just the cherry character of this beer, just the cherry portion of the show. That's right up front, like all the cherries. As it passes through the palate, that barnyard funk kind of, you know, pops in. It's like, hey, I'm still here. You know, you got it in the nose, but I'm still here on the taste. But it's not overwhelming because there's still enough. The cherry lingers throughout the palate, so it's kind of, you know, balancing with that barnyard funk. Yeah, and it finishes pretty damn dry, like bone dry, like a very dry wine. And it does have an acidic tone to the back of the palate. So with that dryness and with that acidic character, it definitely doesn't finish sweet, which is nice. I think if it was just straight on cherries and finishes sweet, this bottle probably couldn't drink the entire thing. The body on this, lighter side of medium body. It's definitely thinner, 5.9% that you expect. The palate is super crisp, relatively, like I said, clean. You're left with a little bit of like acidic qualities from like the cherries and the beer, the base beer itself. That balsamic vinegar character I was getting in the nose didn't really translate. You could say this has vinegar characters or vinegar tones to it, but not overly so. This is more of the barnyard funk, the cherries, and just, it's quite acidic in general. This is, excuse me, this is really well made. Yeah, this is very tasty. For like a proper American wild ale, I think they did a pretty damn good job with this one. Now this one has, like I said, just over 16 months of age on it. This was bottled in September of 2017. So I don't know how this one was drinking fresh, but if you see this on the shelves anywhere that Westbrook gets distribution and it's, you know, under 10 bucks and you like American wild ales and you like cherry specifically, grab this one. Rating on the fruit wood time Montmorency and Balaton Cherry version, the 2017 vintage, I'm going to give it a 4.25 out of 5. This is drinking extremely well. It's quite refreshing. I don't think I've even mentioned that, but it has a nice refreshing quality to the beer. This is definitely more of a spring, summertime beer that I'd like to sit down and enjoy this. I don't want to just, you know, quaff it and just go crazy and just drink this entire bottle in like 15 minutes. I'd like to sip on it. It's a sipper. It has a lot of complexity to it, but at the same time, it's super refreshing in its quality. So yeah, 4.25 out of 5. So good job to Westbrook. I think, like I said, this is the first like proper wild I've had from them. And yeah, I just love what Westbrook does, honestly. One of my favorite breweries. So anyway, appreciate you guys stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. Until the next one, cheers.